Good morning, everyone. Hey, good morning, Ontario, Canada. We're in Sanford. Hey, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Oh, my goodness. These kids. Set that down there. Good morning, guys. It is chilly, chilly, chilly here in North Carolina. And I was hoping that I would be able to do this from laying in my nice comfy bed. Only my husband, we can't physically move our internet box, and we get like no internet connection at that end of the house. And so I've got a make do. Luckily, I've got the comfiest chair in the world. So I've got like a make do setup. Yes, thank you all for your prayers. The pain is definitely subsiding, so I'm very thankful for that. I still can't actually put like any weight on my foot, but the weekend was pretty bad. The weekend was really painful, so I'm definitely very thankful to be on this side of the pain. Good morning, good morning. Good morning from Brazil. How beautiful. Oh, that's awesome. I think it's so cool getting to see where you all are. We'll give everybody a few minutes to get on, but I actually found a venue that it's an old historic venue that's being restored near us. And I have completely fallen in love with it. And so as soon as I can get up and get moving, I've already told the husband we're going to go over there. We used to do weddings for a living. And so I love a good venue. And I'm thinking we're going to start planning our first get together. So anybody who is in the North Carolina area or would like to travel to the North Carolina area, be sure to keep your eyes open because we're going to be talking about that hopefully here soon. I am quite excited. I'm already thinking about all the things, of course. So I'm quite excited to prayerfully move into ways that we can have some gatherings this year. Good morning in Connecticut, West Virginia. Awesome. Yeah. So I do have like a knee scooter type setup that I'm using to get around. I need to try to get actually putting a little bit of pressure. I've got like hey, in England, good evening. Oh, which means I need to message someone. I totally forgot. Let me message Holly real quick. She's in England. Sorry, guys. I feel like, excuse the crazy kids out there. I feel like I haven't completely gotten out of the, it's just that awful, that like brain fog after you've had anesthesia. I'm like, oh, hold on, my brain's not firing on all cylinders yet. So I need to try to get some weight, like using the boot to like walk like heel first and get some weight on it because they had to move so many muscles and stuff around. Like the more movement you can kind of get, the better as far as recovery. There's a couple complications that they had and a couple extra things they had to do. And so my doctor thinks that's why I'm experiencing a little more pain than normal. So I've got a couple things. I'm trying so hard, but I'm just not quite there yet. The pain's a little much. Good morning from the Netherlands and Florida. Hello. Yeah, I'm thinking that, so we're totally going to plan some get-togethers. And I keep telling my husband, I'm like, so many of you that are over in Europe, we're going to just have no choice but to go to Europe and come see you all, right? That's just going to be what it has to be. So yeah, I'm kind of moving around a little bit. It's crazy how much, how tired recovery makes you. I was talking with Sabrina yesterday and I was like, I feel so ridiculous because I know I haven't done anything, but like I'll do one thing and then I'm exhausted. I'm like, oh, I gotta lay down. I can't keep my eyes open anymore. I think I went to bed at like 10:30 last night, and that like I tried to keep myself up for a little while and slept in until like 9:30 this morning. So it just feels so weird to like be so tired all the time. But anyways, thank you all so much for all of your prayers and everything. Yeah, we did go to the doctor's yesterday and got like my bandaging changed, and the doctor looked over everything. We re-x-rayed everything. So everything looks great. Like I said, I've had this problem since I was a kid. And so when they actually got in there, there was just a little extra work that they had to do. Bones had just kind of become malformed since having the problem for so long. And so there's a couple extra things they had to do that just might make not recovery necessarily like longer, but just more painful in the process. So we're getting there slowly but surely. But yeah, it's crazy. Recovery is exhausting. And it's kind of driving me crazy, but it was so cute. The kids video called me this morning. They were putting the sheep out and doing all of our like normal morning chores that I go out and do. And they video called me, and Ruth, my favorite sheep that we have, she could hear me on the camera and like came up to it, and it was really cute. So I got a video FaceTime with my sheep this morning, which was super cute. Good morning from California. That's where we are from. We were visiting California about this time last year. Well, maybe a little earlier, but about this time last year, but we've not been back since. All right. Give everybody a couple minutes to get on here. I hope you all are having a lovely week, though. I've gotten to peek a little bit at comments, and I got to respond to a couple, but I just wanted to send you all big hugs. It looks like we've had a lot going on around here, which I think is great. Good morning from Idaho. Oh, it's beautiful out there. I love Idaho. There's a couple areas in northern Idaho that years back when we were contemplating, like, should we go somewhere else? Should we stay here? And there were some areas in Idaho I was trying to sell my husband on until he saw how much snowfall they get in an average winter. And he has a chronic neck condition. And so the cold really agitates it and makes it worse. And he was like, no way. There's no way I can do that, which is fair, right? Like, we don't want to take him somewhere just to have to hurt for, half the year. Hey, good morning in Canada. Yeah, definitely. North Carolina winter is very mild. That is something that it's actually why we moved to North Carolina for NASCAR. Like, we literally knew nothing else. We just knew that the dream was to work in the race industry. And so we have to be out here to do that. And so we came out and that's what we did. But what I love about North Carolina, especially, I grew up in the desert of Southern California. So like Palm Springs, Joshua Tree, like that's where we're from. And it's either really hot or really cold, and you get no seasons when you're in the desert, right? And so moving out here, what we love so much is every season is very distinct, but very mild. And it's like very stereotypical, right? So like it gets cold every winter. Well, the past couple have been kind of warm, but it gets cold in the winter. You get a handful of days of snow, like enough to enjoy it. But then by the time you're sick of it, it goes away, right? Spring is very stereotypical. We get, all the blooms, all the, the pretty stuff coming out. Summertime, it's like it's hot, but it's not like so humid that it's miserable. And by the time you're sick of it being hot, fall shows up, and then fall is just gorgeous, right? It's so pretty. And so that's why we really liked it here, is because it's like all 4 seasons, very distinct, but also very mild. So like by the time you're sick of it being cold, oh, look, hey, it's spring, it starts warming up. So we really liked that part of it. Yeah, I'm sure, right? In Virginia, when we first moved out here, we lived in Roanoke for a while. We have family in Salem, and we lived in Roanoke area. So we were in Virginia for a while. Obviously, Virginia usually gets a little more snow, a little more cold than we do down here. But yeah, I'm sure compared to New England, coming from New Hampshire, you're like, wow, big difference. That's so funny. Oh, South Dakota. Hello, Lynn. That's awesome. See, it's so nice. I was looking forward to it. We're sitting, I knew last night, I was like, okay, I have one thing I have to, do today. And then I'll probably honestly go nap after we do this. I'm like, okay, we can go lay down for a while. But I was so excited to get to, get on and just have this opportunity to like connect. I think it's fun. Oh, Alberta, Canada. Hello. Yeah, Connecticut. I know, like, I think, I've always thought Maine is just so beautiful. I would love to travel more. Like, I've always wished, I mean, my whole life, I've wished that we could like have an RV and just like travel around. I always thought that would be so amazing to go see everything, um, everywhere. I think that would be so much fun. And I think, I think that's what's so cool too. Like, we have friends in England and, they think it's so neat how for us, I mean, you don't realize how big the United States is, right? So like there's so many different places that you can go. I mean, we lived down in the Florida Keys for a while, so like it's just so crazy the difference of all the places that you can like go to, but yet still be here. I don't know. I think that's kind of neat. I think it's something we kind of like take for granted. We're just used to it. Oh, from Alabama. Oh, okay. Up in Raleigh area. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, surgery went well. Thank you all again for your prayers. And we'll kind of start off here before we reread our psalm, but it was really cool because we live in a small town and we have a small little hospital and they're connected to a bigger hospital like up in Asheville. And of course you can go down to Charlotte if anything like really super big. Good morning in Michigan. Hello. Yeah, you guys are probably pretty chilly up there in Michigan. But it was so cool because we live in this little town. Well, we have this amazing hospital. And like I was explaining, because the kids, of course, were asking questions. And it was so sweet. Like we got in and they were so awesome to, you go in super early in the morning and you got to get all set up and processed. You got a million doctors coming and talking to you and all the different things. I have a really low heart rate. Just anyways, I sit incredibly low. And so just, they said to make sure I reminded all the anesthesiologists, just, hey, heads up, I sit really low. And of course, all of them go and pull up my chart and they're like, oh, how low? Oh, that low. Okay. And you can't see them. But they were all so sweet. And my doctor's amazing. He's a very nice guy. And it was so nice because, I gave my husband a kiss and then he went to go wait and they wheeled me back there and all of the things. And it was really weird because I've never gone in for surgery that wasn't a C-section. Like I've had 4 C-sections. So like that part I'm used to. It's, I've kind of like gotten the drill down. But it was so weird to go in and like, you didn't have like that, like I'm getting a baby out of it, so it's kind of weird. Good morning in Oklahoma City. That's awesome. And it was so neat to go in, right? They like my hands all bruised up, but I had my IV in and they're getting me all set up and they were just, the whole team was just so kind. It was like everything, like when you just pray over something and then you just like see it all come together. Everybody was so kind, so encouraging, just genuinely nice. And even when they the anesthesiologist went to put the medicine in to, kind of put me under, the assistant that was there, he was like, okay, now this is going to be a little painful. And it was the weirdest sensation. I've never had it before, but it like burned going in. And he was so sweet because he warned me, to let me know, which I appreciated. And then he sat there and was like rubbing my shoulder and like talking with me until I fell asleep because it was like kind of painful and you can feel it, going up. But I just thought that was so sweet, just to see. I know those are just like little pieces, but it just really stood out to me, just that like I always try to make sure that, especially out in public, I put forth as much like kindness and patience and just gentleness, right? Like we talk about all the time, how we are to be filled with the Holy Spirit, be filled with the fruits of the Spirit, be filled with those things and put those out there because I think it makes such a difference, right? Just being able to go out into a situation and see kindness, see patience, see gentleness, just see that, and to be able to, be a witness to others by our showing that, right? Being willing to be patient when everybody else in the line is impatient, being able to be uplifting or to be helpful or to be something like that, I think is so important. And then it was so neat to kind of be in a situation where I felt like I just received so much of that. And so it was really quite wonderful and just really, stood out to me in all of that. And I think that's, it's not always the case. It's not always what we get when you're going in and dealing with, especially like doctors and hospitals and all the things like that. But it was really, really wonderful. Yeah, it was that. It was like, people just actually cared, right? Like they genuinely, how are you feeling today? Are you nervous? Are you worried? And I was like, no, I mean, I'm really not. But just having that, that kindness and being thorough and explaining things. I thought that was a really, really neat thing and quite a testimony to, the little community here. And I thought it was rather fantastic. So I had to share that with you all. Let's go ahead and read. We're in Psalm 7 today, and then we will open up in prayer. I know we have some amazing requests here. Yeah, just when people are being genuinely, just something like that, like saying like, hey, this is gonna hurt. I'm like, oh, cool. I appreciate the heads up. But then you sat there and like rubbed my shoulder and talked to me like, it's okay, just a minute. I don't know. I thought it was really, you didn't have to do that. And a lot of people don't do that, right? Like they don't do that step of kindness. So it was nice to have. So my note here I have for Psalm 7, which I loved all the response, those polls that we've been putting up. My son actually was like, Mom, let's do some like engaging polls just to like get to connect. Again, we're focused more on building a community here. It's not about like building like us up, it's building the community up. And so having those little polls that we put out throughout the week for you guys to vote on. And my son was so excited to do that David versus Solomon poll. And so seeing all y'all's responses on that was fantastic. My son came out and he's like, Mom, look, everybody, like engaging and doing that. So we appreciate you all joining in. And I know David, I'm pretty sure is still like far in the lead here with pinning poor David and Solomon against each other. But Psalm 7 here, again, a Psalm of David. This psalm consists of a lament, an oath of innocence, an appeal to God's justice, an affirmation of God's just kingship, and a concluding hymn of praise. So I think this is pretty neat how we see him kind of go through a lot, here in this psalm. And this is he's singing this to the Lord concerning Cush of the tribe of Benjamin. So just for a little bit of, setting here, but it says, I come to you for protection, O Lord my God. Save me from my persecutors. Rescue me. If you don't, they will maul me like a lion, tearing me to pieces with no one to rescue me. O Lord my God, if I have done wrong or am guilty of injustice, if I have betrayed a friend or plundered my enemy without cause, then let my enemies capture me. Let them trample me into the ground and drag my honor in the dust. Arise, O Lord, in anger. Stand up against the fury of my enemies. Wake up, my God, and bring justice. Gather the nations before you. Rule over them from on high. The Lord judges the nations. Declare me righteous, O Lord, for I am innocent, O Most High. End the evil of those who are wicked and defend the righteous. For you look deep within the mind and heart, O righteous God. God is my shield, saving those whose hearts are true and right. God is an honest judge. He is angry with the wicked every day. If a person does not repent, God will sharpen his sword. He will bend and string his bow and will prepare his deadly weapons and shoot his flaming arrows. The wicked conceive evil. They are pregnant with trouble and give birth to lies. They dig a deep pit to trap others and fall into it themselves. The trouble they make for others backfires on them. The violence they plan falls on their own heads. I will thank the Lord because he is just. I will sing praise to the name of the Lord Most High. That was awesome. Yep. Good Psalm of the day. Hey, good morning, Amy in Florida. Brother-in-law, North Carolina. That's awesome. See, I think there's a lot of us that are close by, so I'm hoping we can plan some gatherings. All right, let's go ahead and open up in prayer, and then we'll start going through y'all's requests. Dear Lord, we thank you so much for this opportunity to just gather here together from all over the world, Lord, to be able to come together and to lift one another up, to read your word together and just be encouraged and thankful for your servants like David that shared so much, that even though our situations may be different, our time, our land, our culture, there's so much that just edifies us and builds us up and encourages us throughout this. And we thank you, Lord, I thank you personally for a successful surgery and for working on this kind of road to recovery, just being reminded each and every day that tomorrow the sun will rise, then it'll set. We'll keep moving forward regardless, and just seeing things heal and to work through even the troubling times and get on to better days is just such a promise and encouragement of the blessing of each and every day. And Lord, we just pray that you would work within all of our lives, all of our situations, everything that we're facing, Lord, to be our encouragement, to be our rock through it all as we continue to move on each day and to seek the lovely in each day and to see you working through the situations, even in the darkest of times and the most difficult or fearful or stressful of times, knowing that you're still there and you're still sovereign and you know exactly where we are and exactly why we're there. And just that we may learn the lessons and see your will through each and every situation that you put us in, Lord. That you would be our encouragement, that our faith would be grown, we would be refined a little bit more each and every day. We thank you for the time. I lift up each and every sister in Christ, every family, every marriage, every parent, everybody that you bring here through this. Lord, that you would just be growing us and edifying each and every one of us to stand a little firmer, walk a little taller, and live out your will and your design for each of our lives. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Awesome. So I know we have, let me pull up here. I know we had a couple requests in our community group. We've been doing the contentment series over there, which I've who joined us for that and want to come join us for that. I want to lift up Jennifer. She was asking for prayer for her and her family. She homeschools her kiddos using an umbrella school, but they've kind of just run into some financial issues and things that they're trying to balance in that. She's got severe neck and spine arthritis, which of course just makes things really difficult. And so just lifting up Jennifer and her in prayers that the Lord would just, offer those solutions, right? I always tell you guys, ask for those neon lights, like put neon lights around it. What is it you desire of us? Is there a provision that can be opened up, an opportunity that can be opened up? Maybe, it's the Lord pushing you into a different direction of, whatever it is that might best serve your family. And so Jennifer, we're just lifting you all up in prayer for that whatever it is, we do serve a God of details, right? And whatever it is that he's desiring for your family, he's trying to open up, he's working you guys through whatever it might be, that you would just find those neon lights, to walk through that path. Absolutely. And then we have a different Jennifer, so separate Jennifer, but she isn't able to be here today. And we want to be covering her in prayer because she has a brain and neck MRI scheduled tomorrow. She's having some nerve issues. And so they're looking for any lesions or spinal cord damage, something that is causing these problems that she's having. So we want to be lifting Jennifer up in prayer in all of that. I know it's always so terrifying when they know something's going on, but they don't know what exactly it is. And just being able to get in there, get the right tests done, wisdom for the whole medical team as they are working through finding the answers and doing that. So Jennifer, we are absolutely lifting you all up in prayer for that, as I know that it can be just so nerve-wracking when you're trying to get in for everything and then get the results and make sure it's the correct results and the correct diagnosis and all of that. So Jennifer, we are lifting you up in prayer for that. I want to go ahead and add Sabrina into this prayer here. Their family is going through a ton right now. I will be completely and utterly honest with you. They've got kids that came down with a sickness again. Sabrina has some ongoing medical stuff for her that they're trying to get in and get, tests, the same type of thing, right? Trying to get in and get tests, but then trying to get in, trying to get results. All of it is incredibly difficult. And then we are working on getting them moved out here for a couple points, getting them moved out here so that she can get mainly the medical attention she needs. She's got a looming brain surgery and now potentially some other health things going on. And she really needs to get into a good healthcare system. And so, it'll also be great just to, have them out here just as, friends and, get to be close. But we're facing a lot of just kind of obstacles and things in the way, right? If only we were all millionaires and could just make everything happen. So just prayers for direction and provision and healing for them would be greatly, greatly appreciated as they're trying to do right all of the things and put all the pieces together. But when you're trying to coordinate, cross country move and then dealing with sickness, and then she has her chronic issues that she deals with, it's a lot of pieces on them. So lifting them all up in prayer for that. And then I wanted to pull up our community post, which I'm sorry I didn't post it until late yesterday. It dawned on me that I didn't have it scheduled ahead of time. We have one here: pray for my husband of understanding heart, family. She desires to have more children and also wisdom in their finances, and then help with her for weight loss as well. So absolutely lifting you all up in prayer, especially when you're, trying to work through these things and with the spouse, and maybe you're not on the same page, and that can be so difficult. So absolutely covering you all in prayer for that. We have one here: pray for me to start sleeping better as I have been struggling. Absolutely. That is so difficult. I'm one of those people that falls asleep the moment my head hits the pillow. My husband has chronic insomnia. So we're like the complete opposites. And I have had a few times where, like last night, I actually slept like pretty much all through the night, which was really nice. But I feel like when you're not a person who struggles with sleep, you don't really get it, right? Like I'm like, why don't you just go to bed? Like, I don't understand it. I'm like, maybe, I don't know. I don't get it. And then the few times that I have struggled with sleep in any way, I'm like, oh, wow, this is a lot. Like, how do you guys do this? That sleep is so important. I think sleep is so huge and such a priority. And so absolutely praying for those of you who struggle with sleep and have those issues, because, I know there's things that we can do to help. So just, guidance and things, in that way to get yourself into maybe a better routine, or find whatever might be missing or might be off, to help you in that, because that is difficult. We want to lift up another husband here. His name is Stephen, for his job. He went to take his physical for work and his blood pressure was high. He said the nurse was giving him a hard time because she didn't like his Jesus is Lord shirt, badgering him about his eye test. It's always great when you go in and you're like, really, is this necessary? So he said by the time he went in to take his blood pressure, it was extremely high after being badgered by the nurse for, 15 minutes. She left him in there for half an hour and then tried again, but she was measuring his neck and making comments about how high his blood pressure had been. He didn't pass, and his job put him on leave till he can, but they wouldn't change the doctor's office because it would be considered phishing. Prayers for peace when he has to go back in, and that he would feel compassion for this woman instead of anger. That is so difficult when you're like, okay, you're aggravating the situation. This isn't very helpful. So prayers for Stephen, just in that, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe go ahead and, like we have my husband has blood pressure issues. And so we just picked up like a $30 set at Walmart. So we have one at home, and I check it like in the morning and in the evening, just regularly, so we can keep an eye on it. Taking supplements like garlic, I know, is a good one. And there's different ones that you can try to do to, maybe help some of that. I know for us, if my husband stays strict to carnivore, his blood pressure, it drops so quickly. It's amazing. But if he doesn't, it goes back up. We've noticed. I'm not saying that that's what you have to do, but just saying we were in the same way of just trying to find, is it actually sitting that high? Is it lower when you're checking it at home, right? It's always like trying to figure out what exactly is the cause. Like we see this lady's being a pain. Clearly his spirit aggravated hers, but trying to figure out, what you can do to try to help with that, because I get that and now that he had to get put on leave because of it, that's stressful as well, which I'm sure is not helping his blood pressure. We want to lift up Ashley's husband. Life is hard right now and he is really struggling. Ashley, we're covering you and him in prayer. That's hard when, I don't know, I feel like we all just get through those times where you're feeling the weight of the world. And that can be really difficult. And I feel like there's something about this time of year that I was talking with a friend the other day, and she's like, is it just me, or do like debt collectors get extra ruthless around this time of year? I feel like there's something about going into the winter time that just makes things seem, I don't know, makes them seem heavier. I think this is this beeping. One more. Tabitha, we're keeping your husband in prayer. He has tests tomorrow and Friday. One of them is empty stomach, and then the second one is actually scoped to find out what's going on. But then today she ended up sick, so she's hoping that he doesn't get it so they can still move on with the test. So Tabitha, absolutely covering you and your husband in prayer for that you'll get feeling better, that he will stay healthy, and that they can finally get in. These are these tests we've been praying for a while. They got rescheduled on him, and that's always frustrating when they're like moving stuff around on you. So praying that he can get in there, get the test done, that you guys will get the results, and really just that wisdom to move forward with whatever it is, that they find. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the requests that you guys have here. Yes, thank you all again so much for your prayers. Surgery went great, and now I'm on the long road of recovery. Trying to get moving around a little bit. I'm trying to at least move my foot around, so that way, with my surgery, they had to just reformat a lot of muscles and stuff from how deformed my bones were, and so I'm trying to get stretching and moving as much as I can, so that way when it gets to physical therapy, I'm not completely all locked up. Let's see. Oh no, Tabitha said I'm breaking up. Hopefully it's working for everyone else. It's showing me that it's good on my end, so hopefully it's working for you guys. A prayer request for Rose from a Bible study group. Her brother had a stroke and is in ICU. Absolutely, we'll be praying for her and her brother. That is so scary. What a scary thing to have happen like that. So absolutely lifting him up in prayer, and for their whole family as they go through that, and that he would, just whatever the Lord's will in that situation, to just be, providing that wisdom and guidance in healing. Crystal Ann, her MRI results this Friday to see where the cancer is. I'm praying to hear cancer-free, and also officially in her first relationship since getting saved. So absolutely praying over you, Crystal Ann, just praying for that, that all clear, right? Cancer-free, absolutely. We're absolutely going to be praying for that. And then just lifting you up that, like you said, first relationship since getting saved, and just praying for you and this person to be God honoring and all that you do, and just to come together and serve the Lord. How amazing, right? Will that be? So just praying over that whole situation that you have there, and just for the Lord's will in all of it. And you'll have to let us know how the MRI results go this Friday. But yes, we will all be joining you together to pray cancer-free, right? That's what we're praying for. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully when you went out of the app and came back in, it was working okay. Gotta love the joy of internet struggles. I don't know if she got a chance to get on here today, but we want to be covering Holly in prayer and her family. I haven't seen her this morning, so we're praying that they're all okay. Her family has been facing more things than we could sit here and list out right now. They've really gone through the ringer, and then her husband has this job involved in like in-home healthcare, and their car randomly, they went in just to get like their normal inspection and whatever done, and they were like, oh, you need hundreds of dollars worth of work done that we have to do before you can get your car back. And they've been really stressed to their limits financially, and I know when we talked this weekend, they were still needing to get about half of the remaining money together. And just, we've all been there. We've all gone through it. And it's so frustrating. Just financial stuff, I think, will get all of us like there's no tomorrow. And so just praying for them, for the Lord to provide and open up those ways that they can get it. So obviously they need the car so her husband can get back to work so he can keep making money so they can keep doing the things, right? Like it's so frustrating, all of the pieces. And so just praying for them and everything else that they're going through and their beautiful children, and just that the Lord would provide for that, that final bit that they need to just try to get going. I feel like sometimes it can be so hard when you feel like you've taken 10 steps back, and you're stuck in this hole, and it's like you're trying so hard to get out of it, but it's always so difficult, and for some people it looks so easy. And then for the rest of us, we're like, why is it so difficult to try to get out of this? And so, absolutely just praying for them in this time, and that the Lord would just use it to strengthen them, to provide, to just keep them, knowing that He is our provider, right? He is. And when we work as unto Him and we do that, He opens up all the doors and all the ways. And it can be so difficult in the process. Crystalline says his name is Mark and he has a 13-year-old son named Liam. I actually met them about 3 hours away at a soul winning event. Oh, we're not going to realize they only live 10 minutes away, right? How funny, right? The things like that, the people that God puts in our lives that you're like, oh, like, we're right here. I mean, our first live that we did when we got on here, somebody was on that actually lives in the town that like I was born in and my dad still lives in, and it was just one of those, right? Like those crazy things when you're like, our world is so big, but yet when you get connected and you meet people and you see how, like, again, God of details, like how precise things are that like we don't realize at first. I always think that's fascinating. Yeah, I always think that's so neat when you see things like that. You're like, oh, look at this. We're 10 minutes away. My mom has been going through some stuff recently and meeting some like long lost family members type of a thing. And one of them, they actually they lived in the same areas, like back when we lived in California and stuff like that. Like they were in the same area in the same time, had no idea, no clue, right? And finding all this stuff out now, it's just to see those and you're like, what? You're telling me like it was a small town, like we most ran into each other at the store at some point, right? Like there's no way around it. Like we most definitely connect some way. And that's what I think really has been so encouraging about doing these with you guys and seeing how many of us are close, like either here in North Carolina or close by, right? You're like within driving distance, it's like a doable, drivable difference and distance. And so it's like, we have to plan to get together. Y'all, we have to do something together because this is too cool. There's too many of us, like too close. And Lord willing, to get to go, like we would love to go travel and get to other places, and that's why I throw it out there. I mean, if you guys have a local church and you would like to, maybe we could all, connect and find a way to come out and get to speak, get to share, get to host different things. I really want to work on that here in the new year because I think it would be so neat to get out there and connect more. Like this is fun. This is fantastic, right? Because like I'm sitting here laid up with like, oh, you can't see it, but laid up with a big old boot on my foot that I've got, hanging off to the side here. And yeah, we're still together. Like we're still talking. Like it doesn't stop that. We still get together. We read, we're praying together. Like I think that is the coolest thing ever. But how neat would it be to actually get to plan things out and like come get together and fellowship and study and grow together? I think that would be awesome. Oh, Natalie, you guys hiked in Joshua Tree National Park last year. It is. So my husband, he grew up in Joshua Tree, like literally like his backyard, like bordered up to the park. And then I always lived in Yucca Valley, which is the town next to it. And our son was born in Joshua Tree. So, I mean, we lived out there like our whole lives until we moved back east. And it was so crazy, though, visiting last year and driving through just Joshua Tree and Yucca, even into Palm Springs, Palm Desert, and all of that, and just seeing like how different, things are and how much they've grown. It's just now all of a sudden Joshua Tree's popular. So like tons of people go out there. So there's so much like built up. I'm like, wow, this is so wild. It was funny because it was we were living out here and doing weddings, and all of a sudden Joshua Tree weddings were like the hot ticket. Everybody wanted to go out there and do like styled shoots and things like that. And we used to do a lot of things like that. And we're like, really? That's like the hot ticket like thing to go do now. We always thought that was so interesting, but it is. I mean, there's a beauty out there that is very unique and very different. And we really enjoyed getting to visit California last year a few times, and it was definitely a lot of fun. Yeah, I think that we all crave community, Chrisland, like you say that. I think that while it is such a blessing to get to do this, I am so thankful. I mean, we've got people literally all over the world that get to join in for this. And I look forward to this each week with you guys. I'm serious. I think we need like a talk show, like a show to all come together and like do these things. I think that would be so much fun. But then there's like that personal, like getting together and doing things. And I feel like both are important because this is more practical and real, right? I mean, you all are doing whatever you're doing in your day and you're just able to throw it on your phone or your TV, or whatever you throw it on and just like, get to do this while you're doing whatever you're doing. Nobody's got to travel. Nobody's got to get dressed up. Like nobody's doing anything crazy. So like, I love this. And I think this is so practical and helpful as far as like, I mean, we've got people in here in Canada and Brazil and Europe, we've got so many, like we wouldn't all be able to just gather on the norm. But then there's that real piece of it that I think is so impactful as well, to actually be in a space with somebody and, see who they are and what they're like, and to come together with one another and to, have that gathering, I think is so important. And it's something we've wanted to do for a few years now. We've talked about it, like how do we do this? How do we facilitate, getting to actually come together? And that's when it was like, you know what? We got to figure this out. How do we do this? How do we, connect with other churches, partner with local churches, share, like I would love to package, like biblical womanhood study resources and things. Because I think it is so great. If we imagine if we had a bunch of little groups, like what we do over the summer here in the collective, like to have groups all over the world, that could get together and do that when it worked for them. But then just to have gatherings and time together, I think that, really looking at, and I ask you guys to join me in prayer for this, because looking at the new year and just really praying over this channel, kind of finishing up, I challenged myself to do a video each day this year, which we will have done, Lord willing. And I think I've got like another week's worth to record. But being able to have accomplished that and had so many amazing things happen this year has been wonderful. But then just really praying and looking at what I hope this channel looks like moving forward. And to me, it really just goes back to community. It goes back to my little silly teacups that I love collecting, because I think there's something so lovely, but so like intimate about gathering up with people, right? Sister, we have something in common. We're both coming here because we're striving to live heavenly minded, and grabbing a teacup and sitting down, right? And just having that intimacy as far as conversation. It's real, it's raw, right? Like you don't just sit down with anybody and, have like this little conversation. And so I think that for me, that's what I just feel like this was always meant to be. Even if I didn't quite know it in the process, or we weren't sure where it was going. But I think the more that we lift each other up and we encourage one another, like we are all influenced. We all are. I mean, everybody is influenced, right? That's why, like when you look at Old Testament law, that's why you see the things you saw. Like so much of it was assimilation, right? Like it's really a big deal. And so I think, the things that we consume, even that you don't realize you're consuming, right? Even if you're not a big like TV watcher or something like that, like we're still consuming the influence of what's around us, be it in people you work with, people you spend time with, people in your neighborhood, whatever, right? Like we're all being influenced. And that really has an impact on us. And I think that we should be intentional then about what's influencing us, because you can be influenced for the bad or for the good. And so the more I'm influenced by things thinking, my house has to look a certain way, or I have to look a certain way, or my life has to be this, or this is what's good, or this is what's important, or whatever, that's going to start to influence my heart and what then I start focusing on and prioritizing and doing. And I think that there is a luxurious beauty to a simple, intentional life that we're missing. I feel like we're missing it in the church. We're missing it in definitely entertainment or any sort of big name, something going on. But I think that a lot of us, that's a piece that's missing in us, is it's an intentional life. And it's so beautiful. And it feels almost luxurious when you're really in that right lane of the Lord's will for your life. Does this make sense? I don't know. Maybe I'm just mumbling things. This is why by the time I do a video, I have points written out, right? But I just think that there's something so beautiful and comforting and uplifting about being in that lane where you're I'm being intentional. What does the Lord desire of me? Where am I going? What's influencing me? And so coming together as a community to be yes, let's focus on that. Let's lift one another up, because when it impacts you, it's not just you, because that impacts you. And then that pours out into your marriage, your children, your right, whatever it is that's in your life. And so then you're this little light beacon. And then you can pour that into someone else, because we're called to admonish the younger women, right? And then they become a little light beacon. And then you see that go out, because yeah, Denise, I agree 1,000%. The youth of today, it is so hard for them, especially when they're trying to go against the flow and serve the Lord. Her niece is only 10 and already starting to deal with anxiety. It is. I mean, we talk about this with our kids all the time about what is influencing you, what is calling you, what is bringing that out. And I think that we are going to be facing a massive, I think it's already started, but I think in the next few years, we're really going to see the effects of a massive, worldwide pandemic of hurting children, lost children. It's already there. And I think it's just going to get, I think it's going to be a very, very devastating, genuinely worldwide pandemic of these poor kids that feel so lost, so confused. They don't know what's up. And I think it's so important that we realize that. And that's why I think this is so important, because if the parents aren't equipped, how are they going to equip the children, right? It always starts from the top and filters down. And so I think that's why Satan's greatest attack is on destroying the sanctity of marriage, because when the household falls apart, it just leads to everything else falling apart, right? It's easy for all the dominoes to fall over when you crack the foundation, right? If they're not even on a solid foundation, it makes it really easy for everything to just start falling every which way. And so to find ways to come together and to really build that up, it's not going to change the world in a day, but look at the impact that I could have on my family, that you could have on your family, you on your family, right? Look at how many of us are here. If all of a sudden all these families start getting impacted, that's a big difference, and I think that that's just incredibly important to get together and do, and to lift one another up through it, and to be a place, that's why the more we kept thinking, just encouraging and equipping, isn't that what so many of us need? I could use some encouragement, but then please help me, right? I need that true, I want a biblical, God honoring encouragement, but then equipment to move forward with that and to be influenced in a way that truly is going to have an impact and make a difference, and serve the Lord for however long we have, right? I have not promised tomorrow, so I want to make the most out of today. And tomorrow I'll wake up and do the same thing, Lord willing, and to be able to be that, and to be showing that through our conduct, to those that the Lord puts around us. And then to see then our children be raised up, and you know what I mean? See that impact and move on. I think is just super, super fantastic. So that's what we're, really praying for in this new year. My poor husband has an awful cough. He started not feeling very good today. We can hear him out there coughing his head off. yeah, that's just really what our prayer, for all of this is. And so, really just thinking about what we're going to go into. I actually had a meeting with Sabrina for a little bit yesterday, kind of talking about what we're hoping to start rolling out in January, after we kind of finish the stuff we're doing here. So I'm really excited to share it with you guys. If you guys can hear him, poor guy, he's out there coughing his head off. Time for some oil of oregano for him. But really just praying over it and praying that the Lord will use it. And if there's ever any, suggestions or ideas, or like I said, you've got a local church and you want us to reach out and get in touch and connect, send us an email, let us know, because this fellowship, this community, right? Like that's where it's at. And that's where I'm really praying that we will get into this year. And hopefully I can collect all of my little teacups. So everywhere we come and we meet you guys, we can all sit down and gather for a lovely cup of something yummy to just be together and have that fellowship. So I thank you all so much for joining me here today and just having this time to gather and to be together and lift one another up. And we'll just continue to pray for everybody that we've been praying for throughout the weeks. If you guys ever have any, requests or anything you want to share, we'll be back, of course, next Wednesday, and I will make sure to get those posts scheduled up so you guys can leave your requests. Those of you who are in the collective, we've got our little prayer page there, so you guys can always put your prayers and praises and things right there together. Thank you all so much. Yes, let us know, lifting y'all up. Anything that we can do to help, we're happy to do it. Otherwise, I think I'm going to go lay down for a little bit and regain some energy before I try to do anything else today. Yes, you all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Enjoy it. Everybody stay warm and cozy. I think most of us are in kind of cooler time. So thank you so much, y'all. Yes, thank you, Christina. I appreciate that. I love you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. I've got some fun videos still coming out this week that I pre-recorded, so I'm excited to share those with you guys. And then, of course, we will be back here next Wednesday. So bye, friends. I'll see you all then. Bye, y'all.